right? So I always like to put the ball in front of this white spot somewhere. If I get really picky about it, which I will, is I want the ball to be directly in front of this line. So this is, I'm going to line it up with this giant driving range pillar in front of me. And what this is my target alignment stick. Unfortunately, I don't have a direct pole in front of me.
Yeah.
We used to, it fell over. So this is your body alignment stick. This is going to be your ball position stick, meaning this ball should always go pretty much in front of this orange stick somewhere. And I always say put it, halfway between so you can have a practice swing in between here. Number one thing you want to make sure is that you don't hit the stuff because it doesn't feel good. Okay, so stand right over there for a second. That way I don't get you can see on the camera. So with the alignment stick for your target line, you want to make sure your feet, hips, and shoulders are all matching that. Okay, so if I set up and I had no arms, it should look like everything's kind of aligned with it versus kind of opened, which means if my body is pointing to the left, if I'm right-handed, I am open to my target line. If I'm pointing to the right more, I'm now closing my body to my target line. So the goal is to learn how to square yourself to the target line. Okay, so that's what this is all about. Now I'm going to go over some basic stuff with you today. First thing I want to learn about golf is what you need to be successful is have some sort of ritual habits or routines, right? So step one, got to make sure the grip's pretty good. So what we're looking to do is making sure that when we grip it, the number one thing I work on is I want to do a couple of things. When I work on my grip, I want to be in front of my face. I don't want to be down here playing with my grip staring at it because it changes a lot of things, right? So what I do is there's a couple ways to go about it. When I work on my grip, the butt of the club is always pointing at my belt buckle. Not too much like that, but I definitely don't want it like that. The biggest thing I care about the grip is that you have leverage, right? I don't need all my hands to hold the club. I'm using the palm of my club to create pressure into my forearm. See, I'm kind of just holding it there. The reason that I want that because if I have leverage here, I'll have leverage here at the top. If I'm here in between the palm cheeks, which I call the palm butt, right? If I'm here, I'm going to have no leverage up there, right? And I can also see the top of the club. So with your lead hand, which is your left, you always want to make sure that your palm is on top of the club and not on the side of the club, right? Because if you do, the club face is going to want to stay open. It's called a weak grip, right? So the goal is to be able to support the club with just the palm without squeezing it, okay? Next part is the trailing hand. You can do interlock, you can do overlay, you can do baseball grip for all I really care. No one's gonna put you on the LPGA channel and be like, "Hey, she has a baseball grip." As long as they're touching, right? As long as your hands are touching, I highly recommend the interlock. It's a little more secure. It's the oldest grip in the book. Overlay is just fine, and so is baseball. It's not the end of the world. Again, we're not going on the LPGA. No one's gonna dissect you. If anyone's gonna do it, it's probably me. Okay. But the biggest thing is when you're working on your grip, is to keep, if we're down here doing it, keep the club in front of your spine. If you do it from the side, it's easier to get that hand weak, right? But if I keep the club in line with my spine, my hand has to get on top. So with the lead hand, I always say, let the bottom of the club rest in your fingertips and let your palm rest on top of the club. A lot of people end up doing it from down here and they put the club in their palm and now they have all of this showing and that lead wrist is flat, which is called weak again. We want it to be strong, meaning when I pick it up here, I can see this lifeline either pointing to my right eye or trailing eye or my ear, right? And see these first two knuckles, okay? So all that really means is grip. We'll work on that in a second. So the grip is the number one thing you need to have pretty solid connection with because it's the number one thing transferring energy from you to the golf ball, right? When your body transfers energy from the club to the ball, it comes from the grip. If you have a weak connection, you're gonna have a weak strike. Then we have posture. So first one is G, second one's P, third one's going to be S. GPS. Without GPS, you're lost. It's grip, posture, stance. Okay. And all posture is the number one thing. Since I know you hear a lot from individuals down in the driving range, they're going to say, "All right, I want you to keep your head down and bend your knees." Now, does this look very athletic to you? Right? What I always say is like we're talking right now. Nice flex in my knees. I'm standing tall, confident, And all I'm doing is I'm bowing forward to the golf gods because I want them to give me a good shot. So my chest and my eyes are pointing at the golf ball now. You can see that as I hinge, it's more from my waist, right? As I get into it, I'm not doing this. A lot of people do that. Head down, knees bent, right? You're hinging from your belt as if someone's pushing your butt back, okay? Number one thing when you do that is make sure your knees are stacked over your ankle and you're not locking your knees out. You'll feel it tighten like top of the quads and the hammies, or excuse me, the calves and the hams. And that's the number one thing I look for posture. It's more of a bowing sensation. And the reason that we want to do that is we want our arms to hang freely, right? If I bend my knees and I'm getting my arms closer to my body and there's less room for them to travel through here. But if I'm bowing and my arms are kind of just hanging freely over the balls of my feet, there's going to be a lot of room for the club to travel in. So grip, posture, and their stance. For we're going to do shorter swings right now, so it's going to be a closer stance. But if we were doing a full swing, we'd do more shoulder width apart. Okay, each club is slightly different when it comes to setup. Each club has a slightly different stance depending on the shot that you want, but we won't get all into that. I just need you to have a routine where you can kind of get into something like this, set up into it, and go. So that's why I started doing GPS, grip, posture, stance. It gives you three basic things to focus on. The goal is to make it so habitual, it looks more like this, right? And at first, you're going to be like, okay, grip, and you're like posture, and then stance. The stance requires two things: balance, right? And the bigger thing is where the club bottoms out in between the feet. So ball position. Every stance with every club is slightly different because where the club bottoms out in the swing, each club's a little longer. So the club's going to be different. So once we get into the grip, posture, stance, that's your setup routine. It sounds like a lot. You'll get it though. I'm going to have the three S's for the swing routine, which is smooth and relaxed. You have to sweep the ground on some variation unless you're putting, and then, or driving, excuse me. And then we have, so smooth, sweep, we have stick, which is you have to have a sticky freeze finish. What does that mean? So as I go smooth, I'm going to sweep it, and I'm going to stick it and hold 1/1000 to 1,000. The stick is the hardest thing for 90% of all golfers to learn. Don't know why, definitely is. But the sooner you learn to have good balance, the better your sweep gets because you are now going to be balanced. So the path won't change that much of where the club travels. So the goal is to have, okay, so if I had two balls, the extended version would be like grip. Okay, I want to make sure I have all this going on. I'm going to set my posture. I'm going to shimmy into the golf ball, set my stance, and then smooth, sweep, and stick. Oh, first swing of the day. Not great, not bad. Now, I want that to just become a habit where it's like, okay, there's my target, club face, target, club face, target, go. Right? And you could even see what I do when I swing. I hold my finish until the ball hits the apex. And as the ball starts coming down, I let my arms time with it. Just something that I do for it. Synergy. Helps me stay in a rhythm all day long for 5 hours. So we're going to walk through all of that again nice and slowly so we don't get you too lost. But that is the basics of what a good pre-shot routine will be and a swing routine. Again, like I said, we just need to get you something that you can build on that makes golf easier for you. Otherwise, your head will be swimming with all sorts of crud. All right, so let's get you going over here. Yeah, we'll cover you. I hit a wedge right there too. That's perfect. Okay, so let's get you going right here. All right, so 1 foot here. Good. Now bring your grip right out here. There you go. Perfect. And like I said, you want the club in the fingertips with the palms on top. Perfect. And this points at your belt buckle. Good. Yep. Perfect. Number one thing is just get that dialed in so you don't have to think about it. And see these lovely little things? Take a look. So, oh, sorry. If you look right here, that's right where your thumb should go. See how, boom. And then see this right where your other thumb should go. They made that right there for you. And PXG is pretty good about doing that for all their clubs, so you're good there.
Yeah, so I got fitted.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Good. So now, number one thing we want to do is you kind of went here and you just let it all loose like that. We're not letting the wrist flexation change. We're bowing in and just going to sit. There you go. Mm-hmm. So take a look. We want your palm on top more there. Mm-hmm. Good. Now, what we talked earlier about where the arms hang. If you look down at your grip, is it over your feet at all?
Over my feet.
Mm-hmm. If you look at your grip right now, is it over your feet? Are you reaching, or is your club just are your arms hanging? Number one thing,
Okay.
God, I mean, I love Bryson. I think he's a great golfer. I think he's the worst for amateur golfers to watch because
Okay.
people start over the last few years. I just start seeing this left and right because of Bryson, and I'm not blaming him,
I
but just,
don't know who this.
you will once Bryson DeChambeau, he's the big hitter guy, right?
Oh,
Great golfer.
yeah.
I mean, because he's got custom clubs, and you can be okay with that. But everyone's clubs are not custom to his swing, so his clubs are set up just for that. Our clubs are sent to be more set up to be hit like this than they are here.
Oh, got it.
Mm-hmm. Good. And right there. Arms just hang, right? Perfect. So you got that. Good. And then we'll set the stance. So if we go back to here, I'd probably go grip, posture, stance, right? And that's your setup routine. The sooner you get to own that, the easier it gets. There's some other things that we'll work on as we go, but that's the meat and potatoes of it for right now.
So, grip,
Mm-hmm.
grip,
And we're gonna bow,
posture.
posture, and the club's just gonna go down. It's gonna sit.
Okay.
Yep, and stance. So take a look. We'll make sure our palms on top of the club, and not so much turning it there, but it's sitting there more. That's better. Mm-hmm. Relax that right arm. It's really locked. There you go. Do a swing. Smooth back. Sweep the floor. Freeze. Stick that finish. Now, stay right there. So you're like this. Sorry, I'll show you. You're like this. Look at my back right foot now.
Oh,
Yep. I want to see the doo-doo on the bottom of your shoe, right? You're going to get everything on that left hip, left glute. Mm-hmm. Relax the arms. You want to hold that club like it's a baby, not a murder weapon. Freeze. Yep. Good.
better.
Better. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put the ball over here a little bit. You're going to walk on out towards me. Okay. I'm going to set up and hit that ball. Freeze. Better. Good.
I've never done that.
What?
Like,
Oh, I know. I was watching you swing. But again,
see?
it's just simple little things that helps golf work, right? So grip. Then we're gonna bow in, set the club behind the ball for our posture. Yep. And then we're gonna let the arms just hang and relax. Don't lift the arms. Don't lift the arms. Cool. Now set your stance. Keep the hands down towards your knees feeling. There you go. And smooth up. And sweep. Freeze. Better. A little too much behind the ball, but you swept it at least. Try it again. So what we're trying to do is, again, just something you can have as ground zero. So as you're practicing, it's not changing every single time, right? And that's the hardest thing about learning golf is we don't, as beginners, we don't really know where to start and where to end. So I'm trying to give you something that you can just repeat. Good. Yep. The arms just hang down. Don't lift the club. Don't lift it. There you go. A little wider stance. Good. Keep the hands down. Don't lift that club. So this club wants to be sitting here more. Yeah. Freeze. Better motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll take some time. Again, the freezing and the balance is the hardest for most players learning the game. Freeze. Now, the one thing we're not getting is sweeping. You're hitting a little too much ball and you're not getting enough of the mat. So do a practice swing for me. Now I want you to sweep the mat. But when you sweep the mat, I want you to feel the club face kind of kick back a little bit on the mat, a little bit of resistance. Try it again. No sweep. Hands low to your knees feeling. Better, a little more sweep. So that was a sweep. I want a slight kick of it. Feel like your grip's down by your knees. Push the handle down. Kind of, sort of, not really. Try again. Your hands on top again. There you go. I want you to feel more here. Yes, feel that little kick from the bottom of the sweep. That's the feel we're looking for right there. Too thin of a sweep. Oh, bring on that ocean breeze, baby. It's hot. Good. Perfect. Ball up there. Keep that ball right here because I don't want you to hit that. So you scoot yourself forward. There you go. What's up, big dog? There you go, Alex Batter. Good. Smooth up. Make your sweep. Freeze. Little tight arms and hands on that one. So, yeah. Kind of squeezed a little too much on the downswing. Gotta stay smooth and relaxed. I know.
That's why I hurt myself.
100%. It's nature, or, for anyone to pick up a club and tighten as they go. Good. Yep. Don't bring the handle up. Yep. Taller in your knees and bow more. There you go. Just now push the handle down. Alex Batter. Good. Better. Got a little too much sweep on that one behind the ball, but we're closer. Almost. No sweep.
No sweet.
No sweep. You hit just the golf ball on that one.
Oh, I see.
So now I'm going to kind of get a little more in depth on this sweep, okay? So if my golf ball's here, I want my sweep to start almost just in front of the ball and over here. So if this is my ball position stick, I don't want the club sweeping over here. If it does, I'm going to hit the ground before the ball. So what I want to happen is I want the club to get underneath the ball so it hits the ball first and then sweep through here. Okay, so we always want the sweep ahead of the ball and not behind the ball. Does that make sense? Yep, so do a practice swing and see where your club sweeps the ground at. No, you're good. Push your handle this way a little bit. Not the club, just the handle. There you go. Push the club down, so there you go. Yep, so your sweep was here. That's good. Handle down. Right, you don't want to do this. So just hang. There you go. Or to here. Better. No sweep, all arms. So get your left hand on top of that club more. There you go. That's your right. There you go. Not the right hand, just the left hand.
Left hand.
More here. You're doing this. So this is a weak grip. We want a strong grip right there. There you go, like that. There you go, much better. Perfect. Good job. All right, let it rip potato chip.
Do this?
Mm-hmm. Almost. A little thin. There it is. Great swing. Good motion.
Wow. I felt that one.
Yep, the little
Felt good.
sweep, right? It kind of felt like you didn't have to do so much. The body motion did it all for you. Almost a little too. So that was everything accomplished, but your sweep was behind the ball, right? So you felt ground then ball, and that was that chunky, firmer feeling in your hands right there. So do a practice swing and just make sure. Okay, my correction is going to be my sweeps over here more now. Don't reach, don't reach. Yeah, there you go. This is what we don't want. So it'll all just hang, right? YouTube.
So annoying.
You're like, I didn't even know I was doing that.
Right.
When you go home and watch your videos, you're like, whoa, I was doing that. A little behind it. Handle down. There you go. Perfect. Your sweep was right here. That's much better. Go ahead and step to the ball. Let her rip. Good. Almost. Very close. Hair thin, but still a good swing, right? So that's the goal. Even if we don't hit it 100%, we want to make sure it looks like we got pretty good connection on it. Very good. Absolutely.
I felt that one.
Good job. So we're again just trying to get good habits. All right. It's easy to practice bad habits. We all do it. Perfect. See how it's just popping off the club face now?
Love it.
Mm-hmm. Good job.
Oh, wow.
See, lessons aren't that hard. Can be. So that felt like firm and rocky, yeah? So if you look at your club face, there's a lovely little spot right
Oh,
there.
jeez.
That's right where we hit it. Yes, very good. Look at you. Good job. All right, since you're good with that one, let's go 2 clubs up, get a little longer. Now, things could fall apart a little bit because the longer the club, the harder it is. So I'm assuming that's your pitching wedge. Let's go 8 iron, okay? So we'll go 2 clubs up to the 8 if you have one.
Yeah.
Perfect. Again, the same thing is going to apply across the board to all your clubs.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. You got a little, is that your little vodka orange juice right there? Good for you. I always tell my
That was
students,
my breakfast.
hey, good for you. I'm a fan. I always tell my students this: practice how you play and play how you practice. So if you're drinking with your friends on the course, you should have a drink while you practice because you got to be in the same mindset, right?
It's funny. My girlfriend's like, I thought you did some breakfast. I'm like, yes, I do.
Good, yeah, good friends then. Good friends. It's so funny. Yeah, because golf will get on your nerves real quick.
That's the thing that I don't do. I don't get upset. I don't get upset if I hit a bad ball or
Hmm.
whatever. And my husband on the course, fucker, and I'm just like, chill out.
That was
It's a game,
so. I was
you know?
I was playing Old Ranch yesterday, and I don't get upset.
Oh,
But I will get upset when I don't see my shot and everyone else was not watching my swing because they just assumed it went straight. And the one time, like, where'd it go? I was like, I wasn't watching. Now I'm like, you guys are sitting here twiddling on your phones and you're not even watching.
Right?
I need you for one moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so typically when you're learning, you really don't have the right to get upset. But when you now practice to a point where you have expectations,
Got it.
it will come.
Okay.
You'll be like, God damn it, I'm so much better than that. And you're like, okay,
See?
forgive yourself.
Right.
Golf's the game of missing. Whoever misses the least wins.
You have friends who like keeps like
Oh, just
just
just throws ball out over.
all the time, and he's like, "That was a par." I'm like,
He's the fastest quick draw in the West.
and he was like, "Dang, that's how you play." I'm like, I get so that I get upset.
Yeah, so that's one thing. I was playing with one of my students the other day, and it's pretty impressive to watch. I mean, I can watch what everyone does, and I can remember what they do, but I don't count as they go.
Yeah.
Let's do a practice swing real quick so we get used to that. But I have one of my students. He counts everybody's strokes the entire time.
God.
I'm like, how do you? I mean, that must take away from your game so much.
Right? Pay attention to other people. Yeah.
Yeah, I try to just enjoy the people I'm with. So let's find that sweep. Good. Now with the 9 iron, 8 iron, we're gonna go about shoulder width apart because we're gonna do that full swings. There you go. Yep. Perfect. Much better.
See, I'm like trying to reach
Yeah, oh
out.
yeah. Just remember, the whole reason that we're bowing to the golf gods to hit a good shot is our arms hang. We're not doing this,
Yeah.
right? We're just bowing so that they're hanging. Perfect. On the plus side, I'll tell you, you have a very good swing path so far, which is probably one of the hardest things to correct. So you're good. Meaning where your club is traveling is straight to the target line. Sometimes I get people who are so dominant with their upper body that it's going all sorts of different ways,
Yeah.
and that's very hard to untrain for a lot of people.
Got it. So I hit fun. I like.
Yeah, you feel ready, you feel confident. It's all a game of confidence. If you know where that club's going to bottom out at, I'd scoot back a little bit, about a half an inch. There you go. A little taller in the knees and bow more a little bit. There you go. Let it relaxed. Good. Good swing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. I would give it a B plus. Could be a little better, right? But it could be a lot worse too.
Ooh.
I know. I'll tell you, if I got B pluses in school, I would have been smart. My philosophy was C's and D's get degrees.
Right? I like B plus.
Yeah. So hands down, low feeling. So feel like your grips by your knees. Yeah. Now stand just a hair taller. There you go. Perfect. Almost a little behind the ball, right? And again, so when you're doing your practice swings, you want to make sure, is my sweep ahead of the golf ball or behind? If I'm behind it, I'm never going to have a clean strike. If my sweep's starting ahead of the ball a little bit, I'm most likely going to have a pretty solid strike.
So how do you judge that?
So when you're doing your practice, so number one thing, like this is why I started doing it when you're on the grass, you need to be able to pick a blade of grass and hit that blade of grass without chunking it out of there, right? So can you give the, especially from the fairway, can you give it a buzz cut without chunking? That's how you start learning. It's called low point, right? Because every swing has a low point in it, right? Where's the lowest point of the swing? With all irons or most irons, you want to be around 3.5 to 4 inches. The lowest point's here. That's why that divot, when you watch the tour players, that chunk goes flying out afterwards. Their low point's down here. So when the club gets to here, that grass is now chunked in the air, but the ball is way gone.
Right.
So how you check here is if you're on the mat, you're looking here to see a sweep. If you're on the grass, you're doing the same thing. You just want to make sure your sweep's over there to the side a little bit. And then once you have that, you just set up and go. Good. Little thin. Look, your hands are just a little lower. There you go. Good. It always makes it easier to sweep the ground that way. There it is. Felt the bottom of the club there more. Good. Probably staying a hair too close to it on that one. Yes, there you go. Good swing.
Now the first tee is the 1143 Matthews 2 with the Lemoyne 2. Second up, we can have Tim's with the Dowell single.
Good motion. We're just hitting it on the inside of the club a little bit, which is the heel, right? So I'll give you kind of a basic anatomy of the club head. Toe, heel, center face. You can tell you hit some here, hit a couple there. When you miss, that's your bigger miss right now. So ideally, we want to make sure we get more in here, right? It's easier said than done. Obviously, it's golf. But when you have those low screaming ones to the right, you're hitting it right there. Okay? Good. Yes. Perfect. Good. Yes. Good. Look at you go. Mm-hmm. So how often do you get out and play?
I try to once a week.
Perfect. That's so much better than most people.
Sometimes twice a week.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And how often do you try to practice?
Maybe once a week when I can.
Perfect.
Yeah. I literally started. My husband bought me those clubs like 2.5 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I'm able to go out at least once a week.
That's good.
Yeah.
Sounds like you have a good husband.
It's well, I get to play with my girlfriend on Tuesday. We come here at 6 a.m. and we play the back nine.
Back nine. Man, the back nine before COVID was back nine and breakfast. You used to get a burrito with 9 holes. It was like $28. It was a deal. I missed the post COVID days. Golf was so much different.
Yeah.
There was nobody out here.
Yeah. I bet.
I call anyone who's played golf pre or after COVID. I call them COVID kids. I've been playing
Seriously.
because COVID just brought out the golfers. Pre-COVID, no one played golf in comparison to now. Now it's just kind of like everyone started playing golf.
Weird. Like I just posted some photo, golfing, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere,
All your
my
friends,
girlfriends
yeah,
are like,
you know,
"Oh my God, you're golfing now? Yeah, I used to golf. Let's go."
yep,
So now I just pick up a whole new group of friends who
Yep.
I never even thought they golfed before, and now they're all golfing.
you know what? I think it gave people a realization. You can get out of the house for 4 hours
Yeah,
and be in the sun.
right. I love the vitamin D.
Mm-hmm. A little behind the ball on that one.
Oh my God, so much better holding it down here.
It's easier. It's not so stressful on the arms,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's getting good. You're just hitting behind it a little bit. So when you do your sweeps, try to make sure you're sweeping ahead of ahead of the ball. Excuse me. very close, a hair thin, meaning you hit more ball than anything. There wasn't too much of a sweep there. Steve, right?
Woo.
So let's do a practice swing, right? Kind of clear the cobwebs out, and just focus on smooth up. Find that smooth sweep ahead of the ball and stick the finish. Freeze. Good. Sticky freeze finish.
What's that?
You want to stick the finish and freeze, right? That balance. Sticky freeze. Good motion. You're gonna feel all of a sudden the core just kicks and you're like, huh! The obliques will start getting all them in. Good. How long has your husband been playing golf for?
2.5 years, 3 years.
Oh, so you guys are all post-COVID,
All brand new.
post-COVID golfers. I've been playing golf for 33 years. You think I'd be better than I'm pretty good, but I'm not as good as I should be. Then again, I really loathe practicing in my older age.
That's a long time.
It is. I want to start making bag tags that are a golf ball with a chain that says married to the game.
How often do you play?
I probably play 30 to 60 holes a week. So on every Friday, I play 30, oh, close to 30 to 36 holes every Friday. And then I'll play, on a good week, I'll play close to 100 holes.
Oh God.
Yeah. But that's, including teaching and everything. Yes, that's the sound. That's the sound.
I heard that.
Good job. Always celebrate the good shots and disregard the bad shots. Perfect. All right. And just because I know you want to hit your driver a little bit, we're going to do a little bit of driver. Um, Ideally, nothing's really going to change throughout the swing routine, but the setup will change, okay? So, what you want to make sure is how we're sitting up for grip. Stand right over there, you'll see it better. We're going to set the posture, just like I was saying. Now, the stance is going to be small front foot, bigger back foot, because I want my spine behind the ball so my eyesight can look at the back of the ball. Okay, I don't want to be on top of it. If I am, because the driver is the only club in the bag that we consistently swing up with. We are trying to actually launch or lift. Every other club, we have a variation of swinging down, and that's called, downswing, angle of attack, yada yada. But the sweep is still the same. We're trying to get this bottom part underneath that first groove to sweep the tip of the tee. If I don't sweep the tip of the tee, I won't hit the ball in the center of the club face. So that's going to mean with grip, posture, small front foot, bigger back foot. Now, one thing is you don't want to lean back to look here. If I'm just standing straight up, I'm just kind of doing this a little bit, and now I feel like there's more weight back here. In feel with the driver only, you're going to feel about 55% on your trailing side, but we're not leaning again. We're just kind of going into our stance, small front foot, and more of my mass is just behind it. We're still going to go smooth, we're still going to sweep, and we're still going to stick. So hopefully, it looks something like this. Boom, boom.
That's amazing.
So that's one thing when I tell students before you even hit a couple of balls, go through your setup, but can I sweep that tee confidently so I can just set up and hit the ball? Once I know how to sweep the tee, it makes it a lot easier. Good. Now set up to the tee on this one because I want you to practice sweeping that tee. Good. Smooth back, sweep the tee, stick the finish. So that would have hit the ground in the ball. I call it a drop kick. Good. Perfect. When you're ready, go ahead and put a ball up there. Yep. It's nice having a routine, isn't it? You're not all over the place in our thought process. Scoot back a little bit. There you go. A little wider feet now. There we go. Good. And we're off. All right, but the contact was good. The trajectory was fine. That will tend to happen the longer the clubs get, the more timing it takes because I mean, that club's got to be at least 3 inches longer than your wedge, if not 4. One day I'll actually study how long they are. I don't even pay attention. That should be probably a 42-inch shaft for you, I bet. Good, hands down. There you go. Just smooth. There you go. What a rip. And what you're really doing is what you don't even know you're doing is you're building habits. So when you're playing golf, your body's already going to understand what you want it to do. Versus when you're trying just to figure it out, you are trying every setup's different and your brain's like, what is going on here? The body's like, I don't know. You're telling me what to do. But once you have these things dialed in, it's so much easier to play. Good. Scoot back a hair. Good. Just relax. Nice, smooth, relaxed swings with the driver. Woo-hoo-hoo. Jesse and the Rippers.
So much better and easier, like holding it down here versus.
Well, again, all these companies paid some engineer, I'm sure, a solid million to develop these clubs, right? The difference is when you watch tour players, a lot of them have their own custom things, and their clubs are designed just for them, so they can do these things. So that kind of through here felt tighter, right? Blocked it open, let it release. Not bad. I mean, you're 50-50. That's better than most people on their tee box accuracy. Good. Didn't feel the best of contact, but it went straight.
Right.
I'll tell you, someone who spent their whole life having distance, I'll take straight all day.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I can hit the ball over that fence into the fairway, but it doesn't matter if it's 4 poles over. Who cares, you know? Good. Wow. You got yourself a good little swing.
I like that one.
Good for you.
Leaving to Korea in Saturday on Sunday, so next week I'll be gone.
Okay.
But when I come back, I'll book
Are you playing in Korea?
no, I'm just going for fun. Just
Even
close
better.
friends, like close
I've
friends.
always wanted to go to Korea.
Really?
I really have.
Yeah. Never.
I don't know if I want to go to North Korea, but
I don't think they let you in.
I know, right? You know, who's this white guy?
No, just for fun. A couple of my girlfriends getting like plastic surgery done.
I know. I want to go. I want to go to Greece and get my back of my head done,
Oh yeah. Bunch of my
but I don't want to
friends.
spend $10,000 on it. So I'm like, eh.
It's only $3,000.
In Korea?
No, no,
No,
in Greece.
is it?
Yeah, you should go.
I
I
should.
have good contacts.
Do you?
My friend, oh my god, he's got a full head of hair now.
I want a full head. I mean, I have great hair. I just one spot doesn't grow.
Oh, yeah. You should get that really quick.
Almost. That was a drop kick, right? Ground in the ball. You can tell everyone's back in school. It's so much quieter here in the mornings now. Let's do one more good one. If we don't get a good one on this one, we'll go do a couple sweeps to the tee. So if I hit 2 or 3 bad shots in a row, I go back to, okay, I want to be able to sweep that tee, find my balance again.
So like just
Yeah, so like hit one more, and if this one doesn't go great, we'll go back to a little practice routine, right? So a little wider stance, bigger feet. There you go. Better. So let's do a practice swing and see if we can find the tip of that tee on our sweeps again. And I'll let the arms just hang. There you go. Good. Better. A little more tee. That was a good sweep, but a little more tee on it. A little behind it. Good. And that's why I like using the tee. You can even do it with your irons if you want, but I think it's easier with the wood. It gives you something. That's the same spot I'm trying to sweep over and over again. So when you're playing on the course, can I pick a spot of grass, hit that spot of grass? When you get really good at that, striking golf ball is going to get a lot easier. Better contact, way better sound. Club face was a little open, which is to the right. But besides that, you got the strike back. That's good. Good contact. There you go. Let's get a couple.